John was saying that one of his guys stabbed him in the back by coming on your show. The little guy, the elf guy.
Yeah, Nasty Neil. But now he's on. Then he did my show, and they were all mad.
Yeah.
And now he's doing Shuli's show. They're doing a show right now. Now they're doing Shuli's show. And now I'm like, fuck this guy. John wouldn't even pay child support until his wife fucking sued him. She had to take him to court. That's how fucking cheap this motherfucker is.
He says it's stabbing him in the back because, but then in the same breath, he said, I would never tell anyone what shows they can or can't do. It's like you just did. Do you get mad if someone goes on someone else's show that was on your show? Or that's kind of a regular on your show?
Let's put it this way. If somebody does my show and then they want to get paid, then they do someone else's show that doesn't pay, why would I pay them? If they're basically saying their market value is zero, if they'll do shit for zero, why would I pay them? I'd have to be a fucking idiot.
That's a great point. I didn't even think of that. Like, yeah, if you're going on another show for nothing, then you're valuing yourself at nothing. So I will give you what you.
I'd have to be a chump to pay somebody.
I did Bob's show, and Bob was like,
fuck me. Bob tried to fuck me. This is how dumb these guys are. It's like I compared it to The Sopranos, except not as glamorous, obviously, but it's just like just idiot after idiot trying to like outsmart each other. You're talking about how funny I was opening the champagne cork when Gino lost his channel.
Hilarious.
So Bob's like, you know what? Instead of, because I think I said on my show, since you were saying nice things, maybe I'll have Cumia on. So Bob the next day has you on to stick it to me. And then he wants me to jump on. He wants me to jump on with you two at 10 in the morning.
Yeah, that was early.
He's an idiot. Cumia, sit down, Zuma. Cumia, how come the best comics in comedy love me, including your boy Norton, but you and all your no talent ball watchers like Carl, Chrissy, Bill Schultz don't. Carl blows, Gino stinks, E-Rock is terrible.
All right.
Who Carl blows, Gino like it's like fuck, marry, kill. Carl, Gino, or E-Rock? Who has the least amount of talent between Carl, Gino, and E-Rock?
Carl, Gino, and E-Rock. Comedically, probably E-Rock. In this universe of the Dabbleverse, Chad is kind of an asshole guy. People don't like him. And it's like, well, you guys don't like me, but look at these guys love me. They don't love you. You're just there. You're just there. It's like saying you love a fire hydrant. You walk out and you're there. You just don't see it. You don't notice it. You don't care about it. But if you go on a show where their show is based on hating fire hydrants, then you're going to think everyone hates you. So,
yeah, there is an element of professional wrestling here. And Chad's like a professional heel.
Yeah. All these guys are a little narcissistic, if you ask me, too. It's like you live in a little Dabbleverse bubble, and the people that shit on you, you really think they care enough to shit on you. No, it's, I got 5-10 minutes left in a show. I got to put something up there. Oh, this guy's a douchebag.
Okay, I've said this many times. So, people say, they say, Kevin hates his brother Neil. And, It's like when the whole thing started, like the first time I went on Opie and Jimmy and I was talking about my brother, and Florentine was there and Florentine's like, oh, the fans are going to love this.
Yeah.
And I texted Neil. I go, Neil, I kind of threw you under the bus a little bit today to sell some tickets at the Stress Factory, and then he went nuts. And then I was like, fuck him, fuck him. And then, and then it just, and now it's, it's taken a life of itself. So my point is, is that what happened with you and black people? Which was the bigger financial mistake? Paying Gino, compensating Gino, finding Gino, or all of the above?
That's hilarious. Come on.
Do you have any regrets, like Frank Sinatra said in that song?
I've had a few. Yes, there was a couple. Not really regrets. I don't think you could really regret or use the word regret for things that happen while you're doing something you don't know anything about. Like getting Compound Media going, having an ex-NYP lieutenant running the show, it was bound to have be a comedy of errors. Mistakes? Yeah. Here's what I probably should have done when Aaron left. I probably either should have replaced Aaron with somebody or not given Gino Aaron's pay. I doubled Gino's pay when Aaron left. But you know,
wait, you gave him all the money, all the loot?
Yes. The budget for their show was split between Gino and Aaron. And then when Aaron left, I just said, yeah, keep it all. Fuck it.
That's insane.
It is insane. But, you know, I like Gino.
These prices are insane.
I like Gino. I like hanging out.
Yeah, but then Gino, oh my God,
almost
Gino
killed me.
No,
almost kills me with whiskey.
Yeah, but then Gino must have think like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done, running off Aaron Berg.
The only good part is it made it that much more painful when he was fired.
That's what I'm saying. So it set himself up. For a while, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to him.
Yes.
And then he lost his gig, and now he's like, what the fuck am I going to do now?
It's a hard gig to replace financially, I would think. But Gino's
no one's going to pay him. I mean, who's going to pay him to do what you paid him to do?
He's a strapping young Italian man. He'll do fine.
He won't. He won't.
That's
my prediction. No, I mean, I didn't care. Listen, it worked out for me because the whole thing, like, you don't know the timeline, not that you care, but the whole thing, Gino actually doxing me, worked out because what happened was, because of the fight, you know, when you had to black out the studio, thanks to me.
Yes. Oh.
And then you wouldn't let us in the next couple of Thursdays because you weren't there. You were in Chicago one time or wherever you were. So you didn't want to be there you didn't want me and Levy showing up on a Thursday.
Right.
You were afraid of what might happen. You know, if Gino was there or whatever. So then for a couple of weeks, we weren't there. So Levy says, we should go live on YouTube to stick it to them or whatever. And I was like, okay, we had nothing to lose. I didn't have to leave my house. And when you do events with Carl and you see his wife, are you disgusted? Do you want to just go, tuh?
No.
Sick. He's a sick man.
He's hiding
something.
I have been out with Carl and his wife. We have gone to we went to Disney when we were down in Florida together with Missy and his wife and Carl. I had a great time. She is a very, very sweet lady. And
did she give you some butterscotch candies? John T. Uncle Rico was born on the Anthony and Artie show. Kevin, your tweets about Artie that he read when you're on his last podcast will never stop making me laugh.
Artie, very funny man. Dropped off the face of the earth.
Okay, so you don't have to answer if you don't want, but would you say was more your idea or Keith's idea to bring Artie on board?
It was 100% Keith's idea.
For real?
Yeah. He came up with the idea.
Okay, let me just interject right here. First of all, I've said it many times before. You didn't need Artie because you don't need that much help. So when Artie, I remember we were at the brokerage on Long Island, and Keith was there. We were doing like a show there. You were there, and Keith was there, and whatever. And that's when Keith came up with the idea. Or no, we were. Me and Gino were telling Keith, like, bringing on Artie, that's not a good idea. Like, we were backstage at the brokerage, and Keith goes, well, it's the boss's idea or whatever. So I mean, you know, he might have just been covering for himself. You didn't need Artie like all these zingers all the time because
right, yeah. It
just fucked up the rhythm of the show. I thought, you know,
it changed the whole the way the show would work. With just me there,
you would constantly react to him. I was like, it was just like, shut the fuck up, Artie. You know, even when I would be there sometimes, if I said something like he would say something right after it, even if it was like a little funny. And I'm like, what the fuck? Let it breathe, Artie. You fucking crackhead. You fat crackhead. First of all, show up on time, you fucking crackhead, and then don't get a bloody nose at 5 o'clock, and then you have to go back to the hotel. It's like. I mean, the fact that he's like, he's such a good employee, you know, he's like, I got it. They're paying me pretty good. So I gotta talk nonstop, but I don't show up on time, and I miss a lot of days. I mean, he had one of the worst employees anyone's ever had to deal with.
Yeah, well, that our leniency.
No, but it's not like you guys knew he might be a problem from when he was on the Howard Stern show. You fucking idiots! You guys should have just paid him in drugs.
I think that happened a couple of times. I can't be sure.
I mean, you're basically like, we want to kill this guy. We want to keep giving him money for drugs. I mean, it was fucking brilliant.
Oh yeah, he would come to my apartment for $20. He'd be like, "You got a 20, Anthony?" And then once he'd get to the apartment, it went from 20 to 50, 100. He's like, "I'll get back to you." He always did get it back to me.
Artie doesn't even leave his house now because, I guess his mom won't let him because they're just afraid of. As soon as he gets out of his house, he'll just start doing drugs or trying to buy drugs.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen such an addict in my life. Like after this many years, you think you'd get it in your head. You go out and go, no. There were real scumbag fans though. We did a gig in Atlantic City, and Bob was there. It was Levy and Artie. And the fans know how bad Artie is with drugs and everything. And they were just handing him cocaine and weed and shit. It's like, dude, why not just fucking stab the guy?
Do you want to say anything about anything?
Not really. Like I said, I'm a fan. I'm a fan first, Kevin.
That's what my wife says.
Found you funny even through some of the more strenuous periods of our relationships over the course of the years. But I've never once said, "Oh, that unfunny motherfucker," or "that guy isn't funny." I've seen you on stage and as just a guy hanging out and on podcast, and I think you're a very funny guy.
Yeah, but I'm a breath of fresh air.
I have a little bit of alcohol, not as like I was. I can't be slamming shots with the likes of Visconti anymore.
What did Dr. Steve say about the whole thing?
Dr. Steve, he concurs. You know, the drinking was getting crazy because I would show up at Sullivan's before the show, and people knew I would do my show prep there. So they started showing up to do a shot with me, and they'd come back to the table that I would be at and do some shots. Then Gino's show would end. So Gino would come in and more shots. This is before I even start my show.
Right.
And then I'd get to the studio and somebody's there. And if it was Wednesday, Gavin, and we're doing shots, and then constant beers. Like beers were constantly.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even just at Sullivan's and then the show. I leave, go home, play video games, and the fridge was full of beer. And it didn't stop until, I'd take a swig, the last swig of the beer, and then go to bed. So it was just a lot of drinking. So, that obviously is off the table.
I always say it was because of what happened was because of the schedule. Because once Gino became full-time before you at 4:00, because before I was there, and then Gino and Aaron were in the morning. So you wouldn't see Gino as much. But once you saw Gino every day and his show was the lead into your show, then it was the end of it. Because listen, I've gotten drunk with Gino. Gino's like a fun drunk, and it's hard to say no to Gino.
Yes.
Because he loves to be, he loves Sullivan's, and he loves having the party over there and the fans
loud, center of attention.
So you're like a Debbie Downer if you don't accept the shots,
right. Yeah. So, nothing a drunk hates more than someone that won't drink with them.
Right. Especially if you're his best friend.
Yeah. If you go, "No, I'm not having one today," you look and go like, "Oh, what? You're so fucking special. You cannot drink and I have to." You're like, "Oh, okay. I'll do it."
That just reminds me of the fact that you were there when Pat Dixon walked in. I punched Gino.
Oh, I saw it. I was
watching. You were like 10, 15 feet away, right?
Yeah, I was at the back table. They were at the back corner of the bar. So yeah. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I thought it was a bit. Did you think
you were like seeing things or something?
Yeah, I didn't know how to process it. I thought it was a bit at first. And then I saw Gino like bleeding from the mouth.
This is a good bit.
This is a great bit. Wow, these guys really take it to the limit. Would you use a little razor blade like the wrestlers?
He's gonna get a chair and smash it over.
Yeah, chair over the head. Oh my God, King! Gino's bleeding. What a slobber knocker this has turned into.
That must have been incredible to be there. It's like being there for JFK or whatever. It's like you can't even believe this is actually happening.
I know, it was crazy, and I didn't even have fucking Gavin to fire Pat with, so I had to do that myself. Or I think actually E-Rock might have done it, but it was under my guidance. I extorted him into doing that. Yeah. For the people viewing, thank you for your support. If you do support me in any way, shape, or form, and Compound Media on YouTube, Anthony Cumia on X, and Anthony Cumia on Rumble. Kevin, great time hanging out, laughing with you.
Okay, when do you go back to work?
Next Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, week. I got New Year's.
I know. No, that was my favorite part of working at Compound Media. Would be like, hey, we're going to be closed for the next 2 weeks over Christmas and New Year's, but you don't get paid. I'm like,
oh no,
so I can't buy any Christmas presents for the little tykes.
Gino got paid
twice.
I'ma do my stuff.